Breaking news. With 5 days left until Election Day, Vice President Kamala Harris campaigning out west. She is speaking right now. We want to play her unfiltered, in her own words, at a campaign event in Phoenix, Arizona. Here is the Vice President.
So it's so good to be back in Arizona and Phoenix. Are we ready to do this? Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to win? Oh, it's good to be back and to be with so many incredible leaders. I love you back. I want to thank Governor Hobbs, Senator Kelly, Gabby Giffords, Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Giles, Ambassador Jeff Flake. I am so grateful to all of you for your support. And to all the tribal leaders, the elected leaders, community leaders here today, I thank you. And let's hear it again for Los Tigres del Norte. Okay, work to do. So, Arizona tomorrow, Friday, November 1st. By the way, happy Halloween. So tomorrow, Friday, November 1st, is the last day to vote early in person. And if you are voting by mail and still have your ballot, please take it to any drop box in your county or any voting location by 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. And you can go to iwillvote.com to get all the information you need. And to all the leaders here, please help spread the word on that. Okay? And we need you to vote, Arizona, because we have 5 days left. 5 days left in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime, and we have work to do. But we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. And we will win because we know that it's very clear to all of us here, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. And we love our country. And we love our country. And we know in this election, we have an opportunity to turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. We're done with that. We're exhausted with that. And we know that's who he is. But Phoenix, that is not who we are. That is not who we are. And it is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next President of the United States. In Arizona, many of you know me. I'm not afraid of tough fights. For decades, I was a prosecutor. I was the top law enforcement officer of the biggest state in our country, and I have won fights. I won fights against the big banks that ripped off homeowners, against for-profit colleges that scammed veterans and students, against predators who abused women and children. And we are fighting for democracy. And that's all right. That's all right. Democracy can be complicated, but we believe in democracy and the right of everyone to have their voices heard. It's all right. And I have fought for many who have harmed other human beings. I have fought against the cartels that trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. And it is my pledge to you that if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf as president, there is nothing in the world that will stand in my way. And look, we all know who Donald Trump is. This is not, because here's the thing we all know. He is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. And in less than 90 days, it will either be him or me in the Oval Office. Yes, we're going to get this done. And I thank you, and here's the thing, because we're really clear and we can all picture it. We can picture the Oval Office, right? And if he is elected, on day one, Donald Trump would walk into that office with an enemies list. On day one, when I am elected, I will walk in with a to-do list. And on top of my list is bringing down, si se puede, si. Sí se puede. Yes. And on top of my list, in that spirit, is bringing down your cost of living. It's an issue that we need to address, and it will be my focus every single day as president. I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries. I will fight to make sure that hard-working Americans can actually afford a place to live. And if you are caring for an elderly parent, look, I took care of my mother when she was sick. If you are taking care of an elderly parent, I understand what you are experiencing, and my plan will cover the cost of care under Medicare for the seniors in your life who need help and support. Because so much of my plan for me is about the dignity that all people deserve, which is why my plan includes lowering the cost of child care, cutting taxes for small businesses, and lowering health care costs. Do we have small businesses in the house? I will focus on health care because this is where I come from. I believe access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. On the other hand, Donald Trump's answer to the, hey guys, you know what? Here's the thing. Let's talk for a moment about Gaza. We all want this war to end and get the hostages out, and I will work on it full time when I am elected president, as I've been. And I have yours. So there's a contrast in this election on so many issues, including our plans for America's economy. Donald Trump's answer to the financial pressures you face is the same as the last time. Another $1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires and the biggest corporations, and this time he will pay for it And this time, his plan is a 20% national sales tax on everything you buy that is imported. Clothes, food, toys, cell phones. A Trump sales tax, according to The Economist, would cost the average American family an additional $4,000 a year. And on top of that, Donald Trump still wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, and he has a powerful friend in Congress, the Speaker of the House, who recently said, if Trump wins, there will be, quote, no Obamacare, which would understand the meaning of that. It would throw millions of Americans off of their health insurance and take us back to the time which we remember when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. Well, we are not going back. We are not going back. We're not going back. We are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And remember how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. And now in America, 1 in 3 women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, many with no exceptions, even for rape and incest, which is immoral. And Donald Trump's not done. Did everyone hear what he just said yesterday? That he will do what he wants, quote, and here's where I'm going to quote, whether the women like it or not. And we must vote because this is the thing. You know, there's a saying that you got to listen to people when they tell you who you are, who they are. And this is not the first time he has told us who he is. He does not believe women should have the agency and authority to make decisions about their own bodies. This is the same man who said women should be punished for their choices. He simply does not respect the freedom of women or the intelligence of women to know what's in their own best interest and make decisions accordingly. But we trust women. We trust women. Which is why, yes, we will vote, because we also understand if he was elected, he has been pretty clear in his behavior and his deeds. He will ban abortion nationwide. He will restrict access to birth control, put IVF treatments at risk, and force states to monitor women's pregnancies. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google Project 2025. Read the plans for yourself. And I think everyone here knows that we can agree one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Not the government. Not the government. So, Arizona, to protect your right to make your own health care decisions, I would recommend you vote yes on Proposition 139. And make sure you vote up and down the ballot to truly protect that right. And it is my pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. So, Arizona, I'm here to ask for your vote. Which I would be so honored to have. And here is my pledge to you. As President, I pledge to you to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I will tell you, I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress. I pledge to you to listen to experts, to listen to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make, and I pledge to you to listen to people who disagree with me. And unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe that people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. Because that's how a democracy works. And that's how real leaders work. And I pledge to you to always put country above party and above self, and to be a president for all Americans. That is my sincere pledge to you. And so, Phoenix, with 5 days left in this campaign, my opponent is also making his closing argument to America. And you've probably seen a bit of it. It is an argument that is full of hate and division. He insults Latinos, scapegoats immigrants, and it's not just what he says, it's what he will do. If elected, you can be sure he will bring back family separation policies. Only on a much greater scale than last time. And it is time then to turn the page on Donald Trump. We are done with that. So 5 days out, and it all comes down to this. We are here together, and you all have taken time out of all the demands on your life and your busy schedules. You have taken the time to be here because I know we all love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And when you love something, you fight for it. You fight for it. Yeah. Yes. And with that spirit, and with this spirit, we know that one of the highest forms of patriotism, the love that we have for our country, is to then fight for its ideals and to fight to realize the promise of America. That's what this is about. And I have always believed in our nation's promise because I have lived it. I grew up as a child of the civil rights movement. My parents would take me to marches when I was in a stroller. And people during that time would come together from every walk of life, together from every background, every race, and come together to fight for freedom and opportunity. Growing up, when I was growing up, I saw how hard my mother worked to give her two daughters the same chances our country gave her. And I was blessed to have family by blood and to have family by love, who instilled in me the values of community and compassion and faith. I've spent my life fighting for people who have been hurt and counted out, but never stopped believing that anything in our country is possible. I have lived the promise of America. And today, I see the promise of America in everyone here, in all of you. I see the promise of America in the women who refuse to accept a future without reproductive freedom, and the men who support them, in the fathers and mothers who work hard every day for their children's future, in Republicans who have never voted for a Democrat before but put the Constitution of the United States before party. And I see the promise of America in all the young leaders who are voting for the first time. Where are you? Let me see you. And I love this generation of leaders. You are you guys are rightly impatient for change. And you are determined to live free from gun violence, to tackle the climate crisis, to shape the world you inherit. And for our young leaders, here's the thing, none of this is theoretical for them. It's not political. For you all, it is your lived experience. And I see you, and I see your incredible power, and I am so proud of you. So can we hear it for the first-time voters who are here? Although, why aren't you guys in class? It's okay. So, Arizona, we have 5 days to get this done, and no one can sit on the sidelines. Let's spend the next 5 days so that when we look back on these 5 days, we'll know we did everything we could. So let's knock on doors, let's text and call voters, let's reach out to family and friends and neighbors and coworkers and classmates. And as we do, here's my request. Let us please be intentional about building community. Let us be intentional about building coalitions. You know, there's been so much about these last several years that is making people feel alone, making people point their fingers at each other as though we're not all in this together. So let's approach this with the spirit that is about bringing folks back together and reminding everyone the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. So let's approach it that way. Let's approach it that way. We will be the stronger for it. And always remember, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. So, Arizona, today I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
You've been listening there to Vice President Kamala Harris speaking live at an event in Phoenix, Arizona. 5 days, just about 100 hours now out from Election Day in a battleground state blitz for both her and Donald Trump's campaigns. We did promise a fact check here, so just a very quick fact check. Also, a little bit of breaking news that we heard. So there were protesters in the crowd, Gaza protesters. They have followed Harris to various campaign events before, various protesters. She said to those protesters, quote, We all want this war to end and to get those hostages out. She said she'll work on it, quote, full time if she wins. Now to that fact check. One thing that stood out to us here is something that Harris has repeated before in the campaign trail, claiming that there will be a, quote unquote, Trump sales tax. What she's referring to there are the promised tariffs that former President Trump has said that he would employ if he gets into the White House, and the prevailing view of most economists that tariffs would trickle down to the average consumer and impact goods that are imported from overseas. So there isn't a prescribed Trump policy position called a quote unquote Trump sales tax, but what Harris has done is build those promised tariffs as a Trump sales tax. That's something that PolitiFact has rated as quote half true. I do want to bring in Selena Wang, though, our senior White House correspondent. Selena, you've been listening along here with me. Anything that stood out to you and any fact checks that you have there?
Look, Harris is closing in on this message that you've seen her repeat across the trail since that ellipse speech she gave earlier this week. And it's really a trifecta of messages. Number one, that Donald Trump is unfit, a danger to democracy. Number two, that her key priority is going to be lowering costs for Americans. Just to follow up on your Trump sales tax point, what economists say is that tariffs do have the impact of increasing prices for consumers, because what happens is the importers pass those higher prices that they've got to pay to import the goods onto the consumer. So that is the end effect, is increasing inflation, increasing prices for consumers. And now her third point there is about reproductive rights. Now that is a key issue she's leaning into, especially during this West Coast swing. Arizona is going to have abortion rights on the ballot. This is an issue that Democrats believe is going to galvanize voters to the polls, especially they're hoping some moderate Republican women, and they're hoping that it's going to impact men as well.
Selena Wang for us. Selena, thank you. While Vice President Harris was there on that stage, we also got a little bit of more breaking news. I want to put it there up on your screen. LeBron James has said that he will endorse Kamala Harris, vote Kamala Harris. There at the bottom, he shared a Harris campaign video in doing so. That is key because this is a campaign, the Harris campaign, that has seen Donald Trump pick up some speed with young male voters, particularly black male voters. And they've tried to make inroads and try to make up that ground that they have lost to Donald Trump. They are still very much leading with black males, but losing some ground there, and an endorsement there from LeBron James.